Hey, Meg.
I don't know if she can hear us yet.
Is Megan? I don't
She's
see her
coming.
line. Oh,
She's
okay.
logged in. She's
Oh,
not
I
on
see. I
the
see.
screen
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
She's just getting all of her permissions signed in. I'm hoping somebody else will jump in. I mean,
There's a
if
little bit
not,
more traction on the chat this week.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to get
everybody was
my
like real hot to trot when it first started, and then like everybody kind of disappeared.
I've got my mom, my baby sister, one of my best friends, and one of my coworkers, all on one on Fable for all the Sarah J. Maas books, because we're all reading them, but we're all reading them like in different orders and independently. We're
Right.
finally all on track for one book, and everybody's still texting me. I'm like, use the app.
Am I good? You guys
You're
can
good.
hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. So this is obviously the core four.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get I'm gonna grab the text. 1 second.
I'm
I know
eating.
my Kindle's dying. I'm like,
Yeah. Ooh. Look at how nerdy I am. I have like this funny little bookmark and my book light now. I'm so happy. I'm just like sitting around every corner of my house.
I have my Kindle that I put all of my books on. I get a downloadable
awesome.
version. Oh yeah. And then I have a stand with a clicker for
Nice.
bedtime and for my treadmill. And then I have the paper book, and then I also have half of them on audiobook. So I do all three for almost every single book now.
It's good. It's good. I can't wait. I've pulled every book out of every box I have in the house now. I'm like, I have so much to read now. This is gonna be great.
Careful. That's how you get that.
Yeah, we're already talking about having. So we got approved on the Georgia house today for everybody who's just joining, and so we're super stoked. And the house has like this room that they didn't close off, so they're calling it a loft, and we're already calling it the library.
Wow,
like
I
it's
love
already gonna
that.
That's awesome.
Amy loves this chair back here, so we're gonna get another one of those and put two of those in there and some shelves and stuff.
I love it.
Yeah,
Where is
pretty cool.
Amy?
She is still in her PJs. She had a not feeling so good kind of day today, and she's behind us by a little bit, so she's got some reading to do to get caught up.
That was my next question. Is she reading along? Where is
She is,
at?
but so we just did that, as you know, we just took that trip to Florida through Georgia and then back up and over. So we were like 2 weeks in the car, and so she was more distracted than I was, I guess, and didn't do a lot of the reading. So she's got some catching up to do. But it is, if you're a Spotify user, the audiobook is free for you as a subscriber.
Premium,
So
yeah.
she's using that to catch up and stuff. So
You can get one free Audible book on Amazon if you're a Prime member now too. On Prime Music, you can get one a month for free.
That's good to know, because what would I ever do?
Because they have like
that account.
They have the dramatization ones on there that are really cool.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So it's like watching a movie instead of just somebody reading to you.
Right. So I was trying to crush through Dune again before we got to start this one, and the audiobook version on Spotify of Dune is fantastic, like multiple actors and just like really, really, really good. So I love it. All right. So it looks like it's just us. I guess nobody else is jumping in. And if they do, we'll just get them caught up. Okay. So meeting number 2 is official. Let's see. Somebody just wrote, Meg, I'm just checking the chat to make sure nobody's.
Yeah. I was really hoping Christina was going to jump in, because I am so intrigued by the, what did you call it? Epigrams?
Epigraph. It's an epigraph. So it's like paragraph, but it's an epigraph. So it happens. Yes. Yeah. So I definitely want to talk about those today. Flora, I don't know if you saw the post, but basically Christine, I can't remember, Christine or Christina, I don't remember what her name is, but she was asking a question the other day about the little sections that happen before each chapter. Yeah. And like, were we getting multiple people's perspective, or who was that? And obviously when we get to chapter 17, it kind of lets us in, but she put that up like, huh?
I text you about that. I didn't get on the chat, but I text you about it.
Yeah. So sorry, I think I have side conversations with all of you.
We're talking about
I was trying to get ahead the other day.
We're talking about the Clinium, right?
Yes, exactly. So we didn't know what it was for a long time, and we're all like, everybody was kind of reading it like, whose point of view are we getting right now? And for a while, I was thinking like, I thought like maybe it was changing, and I was trying to read it as something different, but it is very specific. And as we all, we lost Lauren. So as we can assume, she'll jump back up. As we can assume, Lauren has finished the book already, so she will do her best to not drop spoilers. She knows things.
I had just added into the thread that was going on that Christina started about that I originally, after meeting Sazed, who has easily become my favorite character so far. I love Sazed.
Yeah.
But I thought it was him just because the style of speaking is so close. Right. But then she was like, oh, the Lord Ruler. And then after reading them all together, I was like, yeah, maybe. Because I'm only doing audiobook. So like I only have the pull.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was Kelsier at first. Like I would have. Sworn the first 5 paragraphs, it was Kelsier or something like that. And then I thought what you thought, Nick. Like for a while, it seemed to deviate. It seemed to be someone else's voices, or just the subject matter was like, okay, well that's not Kelsier. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then, but then
the mood changes
when it happens though. Right around, I think it's 14 or 13, chapter 13, where where she's having that she's fighting, her and Kelsier are fighting those allomancers when 14. And he grabs the book by accident. Saeed just grabs it with her, and then right at the end of that chapter, they talk about that it's probably from Clinium or whatever, and then you read the epigraph, and you're just like, holy shit! I text Nick like immediately after that. I was like, don't let me find out. We've been reading the whole jank. You know what I'm saying? Like that's out, that was great writing.
Yeah, so I love it, and I actually went through. I didn't do a lot of work. Somebody else had already done it, but I copied in all of the first 19 chapters worth of epigraph and put them all into a thread so you can read them straight through.
And that's what helped me. Yeah.
And it's interesting. It doesn't totally read perfectly through. It's not like a full chapter of itself, but it definitely like gives you a vibe of like how the attitude is starting to change and stuff. And so very, very cool. I'm really interested to see how, because we haven't met him yet, right? The Lord Ruler tends to be this like just this deity of sorts that like we don't know much about it other than like he's real hard to get close to. So super exciting. I'm glad we were able to kind of like get to a point where we could answer that, and only at the halfway mark. So now it really will play in more. I don't even remember my questions for this week, so I'm gonna go pull these up real quick. Does anybody have any place they want to start?
I'm gonna step back and only chime in where needed because I don't want to I've already finished the book.
Don't spoil it for me.
I know I'm not. I'm only gonna talk about the stuff you guys bring up.
Not cool, Lauren.
I had to start Crescent City, and I was like, yeah.
Is this your first time reading Crescent City, Lauren?
It is, yeah. I've read the rest of her books, but I have, like I was telling Nick, I have another group of people that have been reading fantasy with, and we all finally got on the same page with the same book. So I was like, all right, well, I got to be ready to start by Sunday. So I finished the book on Sunday to start this one.
Right on. As far as us other three, we're right around chapter 20, no?
Yeah.
Just ended 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just finished 19 like a couple hours ago. So yeah.
Same.
It's like I feel like I'm in college all over again. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I gotta read this.
Let's start there. Let's start with chapter 19 because that's the freshest in my mind, and I know it'll be the freshest in your mind. So it was 19, right? It wasn't 18 when Kelsier was impersonating the ska, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So when he was talking to, was it Lord Venture? And he was like, basically implying that you could manipulate somebody else's bones and that Kelsier wasn't actually himself. I found that to be kind of intriguing because Kelsier just kind of responded with like a, yeah, I know kind of thing. So I found it to be intriguing because he mentions previously that he snapped when his wife was killed, when he was in the pits, and that's what woke his allomancy. So like, is he not the same as, like, obviously he's not the same as he was when he went into the pits, but like, was that a little snippet of like that Kelsier is not actually Kelsier? Is he
Or
somebody
he's like a
else?
wraith of some sort, like a
Right.
like from the dead.
The mist wraith.
Yeah. That went by me, but now, yeah, no, that's good. That I thought maybe it was like, you know, there's so much talk of, well, I mean, it's still the same, but there's so much talk of all these different magics and stuff that it's just like, yeah, but yeah, maybe he might not even be his whole self, but yeah, that's good. I didn't see that.
I didn't either.
Does anybody else think that because the allomancy doesn't show until you have snapped, that there's a potential that there are who knows how many ska or other people who are not allomancers yet that just haven't? I mean, we still got an entire series to go,
right?
With the storyline of people who just don't know because they haven't had that moment in life that brought it all out.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
Think that's definitely a possibility. That's
Elend
definitely
is a huge question mark for me. Is that his name? Elend? Elend, the guy.
Yeah. Elend Venture, the kid,
Yeah, because
the heir to the Venture. He's 21.
Sorry, I'm old, man.
That's a kid.
He is such a snotbird, though. Like, all right, you can read, fam. Like, cool, you know?
Maybe he just started like I did. I'm really excited about my books these days.
But I think that he's a question mark for me because was it Kelsier specifically said like he wasn't a Mistborn because he almost died in some thing that happened, so it's an infiltration or whatever happened, a raid or something like that, and that would have been the time for him. But like, what if it wasn't, or what if it was?
Yeah,
and he's keeping it on the DL,
like or something like that. Yeah.
How does he know?
But what was also really great for me is like, and actually, if I can find this, I'll read it. But when he's talking, when he realizes that Ben's kind of falling for fam, and he's like, "Oh, you poor child," and that whole section right there is so good. And he's just like, she's like, "Well, I wasn't intending for you to kill him," but and then he's like, he says something. I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, when he asked about the Scott, was it intellectual or compassionate? And then she was like, "Damn," you know, and it was like that right there. So
But I feel like it was compassionate because when he asked her about the Scott, no.
He was snotty.
I disagree respectfully. I completely disagree because go back to the part when they're talking about it and he's asking her about the ska and he says, are they intelligent? And she goes, well,
but he says like us. Are they intelligent like us? What does that mean? Right. Like that's classism.
But that's the whole thing.
The whole world is classism.
That's the whole thing.
That's snotty.
But he asked the question, and then she says, what would a noble woman say? And then she responds saying, no, they're just ska. And then he goes,
and then she deflects.
Oh, no, but his response, he seemed to be let down by her response.
Because like, it's not whether
she would be like on his team of like the
Scar people too.
Yes. Hermione and Harry Potter, like yes.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that he has a long part in the story, and he might have some compassion. But I don't know. I didn't like his style. Like when he was. Do you think that he was at the ball? Did he leave his books on purpose so that she would see that? Is he trying to tell her like, "Yo, let me in"? Like I get it, or like whatever you know what I'm saying, for a lack.
I think that it's probably a combination of arrogance of leaving his stuff around because of who he is, and also maybe testing her. But I think that to circle back on the compassion versus like just if he's just interested if they're intelligent or not because of compassion or not, or I don't think it matters at this point in the story why he's asking. The fact that somebody who's from a royal house is interested that much in comparing whether or not Ska or Clint in any way, shape, or form to anybody else is the important part.
I mean, obviously you're saying this with some wisdom that we don't have, but I kind of agree with with Kelsey was saying, in a sense of like, he's just playing rich bad boy. Like I knew cats like that in high school, you know, like they're hanging out with houses that they're not supposed to. They're doing all this stuff just to push it. Like they won't go over the edge, but they just want to piss dad off and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, I'm sure there's more to him. I mean, I'm sure he'll envelop, but that is there. You know what I mean? Like that, like that's like, you know,
100%.
that's there. You know, the bro.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
When Vin almost dies and this mystery figure shows up to save him, I for a half second was like, is it Venture? Is it little
I thought
Ellen?
so
Is
too.
like all of a sudden like he's been sneaking around following her and shit. And like, so that's what I thought. When it was Says that, I was totally happy too, obviously. But I think
Can we talk about Says for a second though? Because
I
love
he's not an Allomancer. But
I
he has power.
instinctually knew it was Says that saved her. Like I felt like it couldn't be anybody else but him,
because he promised
even though
to protect.
he wasn't there. But
Yeah.
like
I was thinking
he is
too hard and
born
went
right
right
there.
by me. Like I was like, who is it? Who is it? And I was like, oh shit, of course it's him. You know, I was thinking way too hard.
Oh,
My
I mean,
romantic self went right to Ellen as well.
Oh yeah, see,
I'm like, yes.
That was it. Was there was
charming.
there was too much electricity there in that meetup for that. Like something else had to happen. So I was like, is it this quick? But yeah, unfortunately, no. All right, so Sayed is so this is a question that as what we know now is that the terrorist men have been suppressed forever, and we're still not quite sure why, right? So there's this whole question of like, and that's what immediately where my head went when you were asking about, you know, is it possible that there are ska out there who are just like in asleep, right, hibernating right now? Because we know that there's a lot of other people who are potentially dangerous.
There's some more in the army, and being in that war will make them snap.
Right.
I just thought of that.
That's true.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Sorry, I'm trying to get all my water in for today. It's ridiculous. I carry this giant tub.
Same, yeah. My water.
Oh,
My
cute.
my Jesus water.
Is it Jesus water?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wine.
I was trying to look at your cup. Like what?
It's wine. No, my
It's
cup's
wine.
Star Wars. It's wine. It's my Jesus.
Beautiful. I quit drinking so long ago. Well, it's not that long. I quit drinking this year, and so like I'm all like I don't even think about it anymore, which is so weird.
Congrats.
It's cute. Thanks. Just decided it was a good idea. Anyway, so all right. So who says? Is it even possible to not like him? He's kind of like everything I've ever wanted to be in my life.
Yeah.
Yes.
He reminds me of Tuvok, and
I do like him.
he reminds me of Tuvok from Deep Space Nine. I mean, from Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
Thought
yeah.
you said Tupac for a second, and I was like, yeah, totally.
I should have said Tuvok.
Both are definitely
Yeah.
gangsters.
Later in his
I
career,
literally
yeah.
was like, yeah, dropping
Tuvok
nuggets of knowledge
from,
all the time.
From not Next Gen, not Deep Space, but the one where they're in the wrong galaxy. I forgot. But anyway, he reminds me of that character in that show, and that's why I like him a lot.
Just like stoic.
But what
happy
is
to
his
serve.
power? So I didn't misread that, right? That's still a little bit of a question where we are, right?
It's still a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was. Oh, and also, I love how he didn't say it at first, but at one point he calls that little when they make that hop, skip, and a jump from Felice to Luthadel. What does he call that one time? Like he's like it's synonymous to expressway, but he called it a coinway, or he just says it once.
Oh yeah. Oh.
And it was like such a like it was like of course there'd be a great thing to call that, but
Right.
but more so is it really? Do you guys think it'll be important who actually laid those original tracks?
Ooh.
You know how they use coins or whatever to bounce from Felice.
They were using like bars of brass or something. Yeah, right.
And they call it it's like Coinway. He says it once in passing, and it's so slick. But it's like metal way or coin way or something like that. And he means like, you know, synonymous to like a highway, if you will, or something like that, or expressway.
Right.
And I just thought that was slick.
Oh,
but
I gotta find it.
But what do you guys think that, I don't know, is that a little detail that means nothing, or do you think that'll come back? Do you think it's really important?
I can't see how it means nothing. What I'm hoping is we'll get more history, right? We'll start to get more like how this other, like all this Allomancy history. I'm trying to find that word so quickly. I'm like, oh my God.
That's probably my favorite. While you're looking that up, that's probably my favorite thing about Sazed, though, is that Sanderson uses him as a way to kind of, instead of like exposition about the world before the Lord Ruler, he uses Sazed as a way to kind of paint that picture, because he's always like, oh, this is a religion I think you would be great with because of the nighttime, or this is, they did this. And like the way he just shares the like little tidbits of information, it kind of like, I can relate to that with my whole, like, I'm always like the actually kind of person in the group, Lord, you get it. I feel like that's you as well. Like, actually, this is what they said.
ADD.
Yeah. So I can identify with that part, like just dropping nuggets of info, like to people who may not want it, but are gonna receive it anyway. And I think that it's a great way to draw this picture of what used to be. He was talking about the Jod. He was talking about the just the different people. And I think it's a really important part. The fact that he can transcribe that journal that she had found that belonged to the Lord Ruler, that just all these wonderful things. He's almost like to pull in Star Wars, like a 3PO character.
Right.
Where he's just these little nuggets of knowledge about everything.
The stories.
He's like a walking encyclopedia. And I love that about him. And I think that's a really intelligent way for Sanderson to propel the past of this universe or world or whatever into the story, to really make you feel connected to it without drowning you in a lot of exposition.
And I think you know the answer to this already. We haven't, by chapter 19, you guys have not learned what he's transcribing yet, correct?
No.
Okay.
No, just that he's in it. He's still like, she's trying to get him to, at this point, she's just like healing up, right? And she's trying to get him to do more stuff. And he's like, I'd love to, but I got work to do. And he's like staying deep in the book. It may just start to brush in by the time we get to 19.
Okay.
Flora do you remember? You look like maybe Flora, is that right?
I'm on chapter 20, and I think I know, but I think I know a lot of stuff. But like,
didn't he say it was the Lord Ruler's journal?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we know who did it.
Yeah, but he hasn't actually started transcribing what's in it, right? Because it is a journal, so you do get. It's just, I don't know.
But it's safe to say it's the epigraphs before the chapters, no?
That's
okay.
So I don't know. This is why. So obviously I don't know anything about the style of dialogue for the Lord Ruler because we haven't met him yet. But like after we met Sazed, I really felt like that was Sazed. And then after Christina's thread and her saying that, Flora, see your face.
No, I'm sorry. Don't look at my face. I'm really confused. That's what I'm
No, I really just the way that it comes out, like I think it was, I have it all. I copied it over so I can reread them. Let's see. There was something where they say that just call me a religious heretic or something like that. And I thought that just after we met Sazed, I was like, has to be him, right? Because of all of these different religions that he's always trying to convince Vin of. But then when Christina in the thread was like, oh, I've read to a little bit past and I think it's the Lord Ruler. And I went back and I read all of them when you had posted them, Nick. And I was like, oh, that makes sense that it's the Lord Ruler.
Yeah.
But it's not the journal like you get journal transcriptions throughout the book. I because you guys are going to start reading it in the next chapter, but you are going to like you'll read them.
I feel like it would take the place of that, and it wouldn't make sense to have both. Right.
So
it's another interesting way though that Sanderson does use a way to put the past into the future is with the epigraphs and the journal entries. You get a lot of stuff from the history of everything throughout the book as well.
It is the Lord Ruler's voice before he became the Lord Ruler, though, no?
Yeah, I think before and potentially into his career. And I think that what's happening is like you're seeing he's like totally luking the whole thing, right? Like he's I'm not worth anything. I'm just this guy. And then like he starts to get into it and now he's starting to make decisions and he's like, okay, well, I'm pissing people off and I can't save everybody. And this is just what I have to do. And I think that as it unfolds, it'll be better. But I think that what potentially Lauren might be alluding to is that that's part of it, but there's like the meat of it may still be yet to be revealed, and we may start to reveal like more really specific things that are about to come. So I think that it is the epigraph is part of it, but it's more like his journaling. Whereas like I think that a lot of what might continue, like it may get more, I don't want to say biblical maybe, but like some more like hard and fast rule kind of stuff is coming.
I think the best way to describe it is they're two different bodies of writing.
Okay.
Just think of it
That's
that
fair.
way. Like they don't cross the information in the epigraph and what, like, it's not like a continuation of voice throughout the two. It's two different bodies of writing.
It's almost
Okay.
like Old Testament, New Testament, right? It's almost like, right. So, okay,
There
cool.
we go.
Yeah. Same book, right? Just two writings in the same book. So, all right.
Right,
So that's cool. I really love this part, and I don't think we talked about Says enough, and I'm just going to put that out there. The other thing, so no, let's just do that. Let's go back because I want to. Says is everybody's favorite. Tell us
Yeah.
what your favorite parts are because he's the shit. I can't.
I have favorites, but I don't remember what parts you guys haven't read yet. So I'm just gonna chime in on and jump in with whatever you guys say.
Oh, okay. So
Nick, you tell us what your favorite parts are, and then Floor, and then I'll go.
okay. So my favorite parts so far, obviously the fact that like he is this like calm, reserved, kind of all the fact that he's like memorized like 156 religions and he's constantly trying to like convince people that this is the one that they should be in. Oh yeah, you very much feel like this. And he's like, no, not yet. And he goes, okay, I'll keep trying. And it's like, this is never gonna go away because this is what I'm obsessed with. So I kind of love like how he's like constantly trying to work through people's personalities and try to figure out like what belief system fits you properly. And it's like, stop labeling me. And I can't get over it. And the more we get to hear from him about like all of these religions that Sanderson has made up, right? Like he's like, oh yeah, and he's basing them on other things. So I'm really enjoying that part where he's like, all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, you should hear about these people and blah, 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 blah.
I will say that.
Yeah, go.
I was gonna say, I will say that like the other characters do like play into it and start asking him more questions and stuff. So you get a little bit more of that.
I bet.
Which is...
Yeah, I can't. Oh God, I love it. I can't wait. So that, I mean, the obvious stuff like him being like low key badass and all that stuff is really cool. But I'm really liking like this whole like theology part of him that just keeps coming out and him just like constantly processing it as he like. And they're always like, man, you know me really well. That one's not it, but you know me really well. So I think we get to learn more about the characters and about these cool made up ideas from Sanderson at the same time. So I think that's my biggest.
I guess for me, it was just like, I guess the way he just kind of like envelops as the story goes. Cause I have to say, like when he first did that religion thing, I was more in line with Vin. That kind of, when people are pushing with religion, that's kind of like, you know, I get a little sour taste in my mouth, and they were like, you know, I know it's fiction and I'm interested in all his wealth of knowledge and everything. But my initial sentiment was very close to Vin's, where I was like, all right, dude, but whatever, you know. But then I realized how Sanders or what's his name? Anderson uses it to uses that as like an intro into his big lexicon of knowledge, if you will, and all that he knows about the past and why he knows those things. Which at first, like I said, wasn't very obvious to me. But then I came to really like that. I also like how, you know, just like how he plays that background, but is like very like observant, and he sees most everything, and he can be, his presence is like, you know, right there, but he can also like be right in the open and be really quiet. Like those are skills that like when I see that in other people that I you know, admire and I think it's really cool and something that I can't do at all. And so that's cool. And then just but that one part where he really just talks about like what it means to be a terraceman and how sometimes people don't realize, like, you know, being a ska is like a little bit better. Like first of all, and they haven't said anything about this yet, but I was wondering, like, are there any terrace women? Lauren, don't say anything. And then, like, you know, like, what's going on with that? Do they breed them all to just be men? And like, how does all that work? and then like the fact that they're eunuchs, which is very synonymous to GOT. That brought me to that, especially with the way him and that character were similar in a sense. And like, having all that knowledge and like, kind of, I don't want to talk about GOT, but then but yeah, like that came into my mind. And so these are things I'm thinking about him. And of course, when he saved Vin, it was just like I almost threw the book. Like I was just like so happy that like, because I really thought like everybody was dead for a second there. I was like, but yeah, and like I really like how he's that low key. And one could say that the book's like he's a main character in a sense, like, and he plays a very supportive role. But like you could turn the narration. This could be a book about him. He's such a powerful character.
Yeah,
I fully agree. And you brought up a point I didn't even think about, because I just assumed that the term terrorism was just like
people.
I didn't even think about like the fact
we've only
that
met 2 or 3, right? And they've all been dudes, right? Like the other guy, Paul. Yeah.
And he's like, we're all eunuchs.
And we're eunuchs, yeah. I'm thinking they breed them, and they breed them a certain way. So I bet you if there is a terrorist woman, watch out,
That's a really interesting insight. Another part of the book, when after he saved Vin and she was awake and she was like, are you an allomancer or whatever she was asking? And he's like, what would you say if I told you I wasn't? And then she said, or he asked, when have I lied to you before or something like that? And she said, the best liars mostly tell the truth or something like that, to that effect. And
most
like his reaction
are in truth.
Most liars tell mostly truths, something like that.
Yes. The best liars tell mostly the truth. So, and then his reaction to that, I just felt like it was like oh man.
I don't know why I was so reluctant I should just start highlighting the shit out of here, because there's so many pages and paragraphs that I would like to read in time, because that conversation's really good, but also like, remember when right before they get their ass whipped, like when they're on the rooftops, they're about to go, Kelsier and Vin about to go in, and she's just like begging, and he's like, 2 weeks ago you wouldn't say a thing, and now you're badgering me, or like, well, I'm paraphrasing poorly, but like all those little spots, like I'd love to, like from now on, let's promise like everybody has to bring in a quote, like or something, because I want to redo the text,
Okay.
And I don't know why
I actually have some for the next section. So
yeah, I usually do, but like,
Yay.
Yeah. So we hit some favorites, some bangers, because there are plenty of them. Like, he does a really good job with conversation, and like it feels really, I mean, like all authors should, but like it sounds really, really natural. And then like, and even his narration around an intimate or like a really intense conversation, like how he kind of guides the reader to like, I don't know, he just does that really well. And I'm gonna try to pick some out next time. Have 2 or something next week.
Cool.
So I want to touch on, because we haven't really touched on this term yet, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't spoiling anything, but it got introduced in chapter 9. So Saz is what they call a keeper. And he says, because Vin asked keepers, Vin asked as Kosan moved around to begin snipping at her bangs, there are more like you? Not many, Saz had said, but some enough to pass the truth on to the next generation. So they are the keepers of knowledge that pass things on. And he specializes in religion, which is why he's so focused on religion. Right. That's where his interests lie. So the fact that he is basically one of a group of people who are a walking, talking library, I guess, of information to hand down to the world, I would assume, because histories either aren't being written down or aren't being tracked because of the Lord Ruler or something to that effect. But I think that it's interesting that he is of a group of people that is their sole purpose.
That's me. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget, so I put it in the announcements. Keeper. Right. See, he's badass. The other thing that I like about him that is starting to happen now is he's starting to kind of like bother Vin, like quietly sit behind her. He scowls at her and catches her when she's doing stuff, and like she's starting to get a little as she's already getting comfortable in her nobility, right? She's also like starting to like actually open herself, and she's kind of getting ahead of herself. And he's like, "Nah, nah, check yourself, come back a little bit." And she's like, now she knows she's always got like somebody kind of with an eye on her, and she's not like fighting it necessarily either, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
To touch
Svar
on
hit me
the
up.
opening,
Say
the
again.
opening up, I want to touch on that comment.
Okay.
Like, if you notice from the start of the book until now, she's starting to learn to trust people a little bit more, become friendly with people a little bit more. They're not just, the people on the crew. There are people that she is starting to actually have a relationship with, which I think is new for this character. She's never had that in the past. So I think that that's interesting how that's progressing and how it will progress in the story.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. The way Anderson is bringing that character out, like how she was so timid and reserved at first, and always being behind the corner and being like being able so that she could hear and see you, but you couldn't hear till her coming home with the red dress and like not changing automatically, and then Kelsier comes in and he's like she's just sitting there and there's still like you can tell that like she likes it and he's just bringing in all these little things and like I don't necessarily agree with like we'll make a woman out of her, whatever, but like this whole thing of her growing into, I mean, essentially a woman is just that gradual steps that he takes is very. I am enjoying that, and she's becoming so real to me, because especially because Vin's such a boy name. Like the first couple chapters, I had to kind of remind myself that she was a girl because Vin did and which was definitely purposeful, but yeah, I agree with that. Like she's just really turning into this woman, and you're seeing and she's like coming from just this timid little scared kid to someone that could be hired by the CIA. Like she's like doing deep ops now. It's like
I think the fact that she catches on so quickly too, because back chapter, I don't even know what chapter it was, but back in the day in the book, Kelsier commented that she just so willingly trusted him to jump herself, like when she was first learning how to use the Nuttles. Chapter 7, maybe she just threw herself off the building or off the wall, and he said
over that wall.
Yeah.
He just shows how brave she is,
right? But
that was not her brave
so quickly too.
Yeah. That was a little selfish though, no? Because she was just like, whoa, I got cause her first, I felt during that part of the book, during that part of the text, she was still at least trying to pretend to herself that this is more of a self-gratifying thing than being really with this crew, which she was lying to herself the whole time, but she was really trying to tell herself that and keep that that wall between her and these really kind people, that gave her back.
Yeah. And I think it's also, we have to remember that she came from being nothing. She lived in filth and ruin and had probably never got to shower on a regular basis and didn't have a bed, didn't have, had to fight for food, and were part of these crews that were, of these people that are completely looked down upon and having, and she's finally getting to experience other parts of life and see what it's like to have more and be able to accomplish more. And she throws herself back, I feel like, a lot, and punishes herself for that sometimes in the story.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point, because I mean, Reen just kind of abused her constantly. It seemed like and they paint it as he was afraid for them, but why? Why was he so afraid from them? Did he this is my question, because we haven't heard much about her brother, right? So does he know about her powers? Does he know? Because I was thinking back to chapter 15 or so, I think it was, when she was basically saying how he always knew when to leave, and because they found Cayman's camp or their crew or whatever that were slaughtered, and he wasn't among the dead, but that one kid was, and all that stuff, and just that he always knew when to leave, and that he kind of just abandoned her, but he really abused her and shaped her whole mentality to how it was in the beginning, almost kind of like a dog, like a stray dog that's been abused, you know, and had to fend for itself. And then it gets adopted into a home that actually takes care of it. And like you see it heal. It's like a beautiful thing. But like that's kind of how I think of her, like, you know.
Very much so. And it was funny because as a brother who has a younger sister, I was like, who the fuck is this dude? You know, like, oh,
right.
Carmen, why are you bringing little kids to the game, man?
You good? I'm in my ears. She was like, "Why can't I hear them?" And I was like, so yeah, they're good."
Oh, you got okay, right on. And then
yeah.
I should use better words. It's a reading group for crying out loud.
It's all right. We do it too.
None of us are gonna hold our tongue.
Not at all.
I have no filter.
But she has this. Again, you remind me of something, Megan. How in the beginning. And if you notice now, like in the beginning, whenever she was talking to herself, it was Reen's voice in her head. But slowly, she has Kelsier's voice, and she even repeated some things that Sazida said since then. And like, and there's this change in her perspective, or a change in like, you know, who's living rent free in there, like where her guidance is coming from. But also, does anybody think Reen will ever come up? Like, do you ever think we'll physically pop in there? And I do think that Reen knew that she was special. I think that's how he survived. I think that's how he got, because remember they said someone told her that Kamen knew, right? Like that happened in the book. Kamen knew. So Reen must have told him or blah, 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 but he knew something for sure. Yeah.
Right. That was back when she called it her luck though. That was, it was her luck. Like she didn't know what it was.
But again, somewhere between chapter 5 and chapter 8, Kelsier tells Vin that Kamen knew she had powers.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I think very close to after the first meeting, I get a text from Florida. He's like, "Are we gonna meet Reen?" And I was like, "Oh my God." So I immediately start freaking out. And so I've kept him in the back of my head. And something that I thought of the other day was, we're in the fight scene, right? They're like what are they? I keep calling it Inquisitor. Did I have that right? Okay, good. Whew, I don't know why that was hard. One of the Inquisitors goes, "Who's your father?"
Right.
To Vin. Who's your father? Do they already know? Is it like we already have an idea?
Her father. I thought that guy thought that Kelsier was her father. He just meant like, who's that other guy that you're with? That's how I took it. No.
I think it's something beyond. I think it's they already have an idea who they think her father is, and they're like, "You're way too strong for what you should be. We think we know who you are."
Oh, is she the Lord Ruler's daughter?
No, I don't think so, because she sees when she attends the first ball, there's an Inquisitor there, and she's like, "Oh, I saw my father tonight," because she said Reen had pointed him out.
We know who he is.
Follows bloodline.
Right.
Allomancy follows bloodline, so she obviously has somebody in the royal somewhere.
Right.
Her father.
So I wasn't necessarily thinking Lord Ruler, but I do think that like that dude, whoever he may be, ends up being somebody who like maybe did. So my thought with Reen was, did Reen like take her out into the world to try to shoo her away because like he either knew she was going to be too powerful, like, or more powerful him, and there's like a jealousy thing, or was he trying to save her from something? And he's like, really, like, we just got to get out of here. I do think he's coming back. I do think we're going to end up with some sort of weird. And Lauren hasn't made. Oh, there it is. I was waiting for Lauren.
That's mad Star Wars, though, B.
It's so Star Wars.
Star Wars.
It's so Star Wars.
We go on hardcore sci-fi.
I have no poker face.
This pop bullshit. We're going hardcore. We're going hardcore sci-fi in the next one on here. Okay.
So that is a question we have to come up with at the end, because we're already at the 2-week mark, and really we'll finish this in another 2 weeks. I'm already asking. Well, true. And because like, I think we should like know by mid-book every book so that everybody has time to like pick it up or get it wherever you want to. And so like we can kind of alert anybody else who wants to join in, like, hey, it's coming. So before the end, just be thinking about it. And you know, we're 15 minutes to an hour on this meeting already. If you guys want to go long, I'm totally down. It doesn't matter right now, but
I gotta be at band practice at like 7:30. I'm gonna cut at 7, but yeah. In fact, this shitty little band you never heard of.
We're gonna music on the next book club.
I'll let you guys know when it gets. Let's talk about the text. But like as it grows, I'll let you guys know.
You can always like side chat in the Discord or something too, and put it in there, and we can even make you we could put Flowers Band in as a channel, and you could put sound bites in and stuff. I'm down. And anything, by the way, anything you guys want to do with the Discord, just hit me up and let me know. Because really, like, obviously we're the core four right now, and I'm hoping that like it'll be fun. I just saw Christine pop in from mobile, but she never actually joined. So I would say if you guys want to do anything or it's missing anything, just let me know and I'll happily add it. And if anybody wants to help manage it or any of that, there's nothing to do. But like if you want to get in and be able to have some access to it, just let me know. All right. So Reen, we don't know, but a lot of stuff going on. I think obviously
I totally forgot about that father thing. That's a great point. He's definitely coming back. Yeah. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Right. I think there's a good chance Reen went back home and like and I'm not even going to look at Lauren's face because I don't want to know anything. But yeah, so that was my first thought was like, who's your father? And I was like, oh, shit. So by the way, when I was
Yeah.
Wait.
So,
What if Ringness who told them where Cayman's camp was?
dude, I think he's shady. Yeah. I think unfortunately he's not all he's cracked up to be. He's trying to suppress Vin in ways that's like almost over the top, right? Like I get it, right? It's
because
so all those
back in the day, yeah.
Because the smoker should have concealed the camp. They shouldn't have been able to find Cayman's camp, right? So
Lauren goes full undercover.
Lauren blinks twice if I'm onto something.
Okay, good. I'm good. So we don't have an answer, but amazing. I'm glad we're kind of like hitting numbers here. So, there she is again. Christina, pop back in again. Come on, Christina, join up. Anyway, so
maybe she doesn't have Zoom or can't get on Zoom.
Yeah, totally. And it also kind of scares people, right? People assume if it's Zoom that you have to put your face in it and stuff. So I think that what I'm going to try to do, Zoom allows me to record these too. So I recorded the last one too, and I'm going to try to post them for people so that they have an opportunity to like at least like hear how the conversation's going, and hopefully it'll entice some more people. All right.
So everybody can see my lack of poker face.
And my eating on camera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's awesome. That's the beauty of this thing is that like, we just show up and we get to have amazing opinions, and it doesn't matter what wine cup you're drinking out of or who's wearing what or any of that stuff. So
I'm smoking weed.
I know, I saw it. I love you. Let's see. Are you guys still on? Because I just got done with the tattoo. So I'd come. Yes, 100% yes. So I'll tell her. Oh, what the hell? Yeah, there we go. Yes, exclamation, go. So where should we go now? I have obviously the weekly questions, which are kind of a little bit looser. Okay, here's a question that I've had that's not context related, but a question that I've had, especially for the ladies. Does everybody feel like Sanderson is doing a good job of properly representing a female hero? And I always wonder this, especially with like these dudes who get caught up in like Lauren's already like, no.
I have I will get on a soapbox in about 2 seconds. Let me.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me because as a dude, I'm like, oh, she's great. Everything's cool. I don't mean to try to genderize it too much, but
men do not know how to write female main characters.
Well, we don't even know how to talk to you most of the time, so it's really not that surprising.
I mean,
right? You know what I mean? Like,
have you ever talked to a female? I mean, come on, it's pretty hard.
I still struggle. Yeah,
I kid.
I'm a woman and I can't talk to women, so
I need another. Hold on, I'm gonna bring another light source in.
Sorry, my house is like my desk is 2 giant windows here, so I'm gonna look like I'm glowing for a while. But it's also way earlier in the day here. But yeah, so all right, so I just thought I'd throw it out there. Megan, do you have an opinion one way or the other? Are you happy with the way she's developed, or do you wish there was more?
Well, respectfully.
No, I want to hear this too.
No, respectfully.
Yeah, you're not hurting anybody's feelings. I think it's
No, respectfully to Sanderson. I
Right.
think Brandon Sanderson is a wonderful articulator of many things. The female mentality is not one of them. So for him to choose a female main character perspective for this book, I say that because I feel like she really is who the book is designed to be. Like she's designed to be the
Right.
main character of this book slash series.
Exactly.
Maybe. So
That's what I think
I
too.
feel like that's a really strange decision, seeing as there's
She's
so
on the
many
cover.
there's
She's
so
it.
many other there's so many other aspects of the female mentality and the psyche that I think are not well represented. I think the way even with that tomboy hard exterior background, I think it's just we are an enigma, and you can't write it unless you've lived it.
I
I'm very
agree.
curious to see what your perspective is as some of the interpersonal relationships get built. And that's one of my gripes about the book is he doesn't know how to build interpersonal relationships in detail, especially for a fantasy novel. And I feel like with fantasy novels, a lot of it is the relationships and interactions that go on between the characters in these climactic situations, and like we're like fighting for our lives and our worlds and stuff like that. And I don't think he knows how to touch on emotion and building that very well.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see that because it very, very
great world building.
So this was his first, if I'm not mistaken. There may be a couple of like smaller ones before. This was like his first real break into, and now there's like this whole, I don't want to call it universe, but they in book world they call his entire catalog the something verse or something, right? And so I'm wondering if it gets any better, right? I'm wondering if like as this goes through, maybe in book 2 or 3, we start to see like a little more. It's hard to say. I could picture being him myself and coming from a very like, I don't want to nerd him out, but he's totally nerdy, right? And he's so like coming from like a super nerdy place. I came up with this allomancy idea and bow, and there's going to be this cool female lead and she's going to be awesome and she's going to do all these cool things. But like, can I really get into the guts of it all, right? So I see it and I feel it. Like if I had any talent at all, I would probably write it very similarly, I think. But I constantly am thinking like, is anybody like super happy? Like our female readers and like plenty of people are like, this is a great book, right? Like everybody, like all shapes and sizes and whatever. But I'm wondering if people are like, yeah, there could be a little more. So you've already kind of answered that, which is like, yeah, they're probably from a female perspective. It's like, we'd like to get a little more insight, right? So just kind of an aside, I've always just kind of, it's been on me for like a week and a half. So I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, I think it's because it's very surface level with the character. So I even have I have such a hard time remembering like when you said you had ChatGPT kind of put together a character list for us, that really helped because I couldn't even remember half of the guys who are part of his crew. And like I'm usually that person who knows everything about every little tiny character, no matter if they've only taken up a paragraph in the book. And like it was just it's so hard, even with audiobooks. I'm experienced as listening to books now for the first time, not just books that I'm rereading, listening to them. And it's so hard for me to really draw in who these people are because everything is kind of so surface level that I don't get that deeper understanding to really build that connection. So they're kind of like, oh, they're there and then they're not there. And I think that's why I like Cezanne so much, is because you do kind of get that more with him.
Correct. Yeah, I feel the same way. I definitely, I put it up there for myself as much as anybody else and was like, oh, right, who was that? And like for a while I was like, wait, what's everybody's position in the crew again? And like who's doing what? And so it was just kind of good for me too to be like, oh yeah, great. Cause like I want to be able to talk to you guys about it in a way that seems like I remember things, and I'm terrible at remembering things. So like it helps for me to have these little cheat sheets. But yeah, I totally agree. I do like I don't have a ton of like other books that I've recently read that I can compare to, but and I don't want to sell you out, Lauren, or speak for you, but Lauren and I had a conversation just yesterday when we were talking. She was like, it was just I kind of struggled through it for a little bit. It opens up,
Yeah.
but I kind of struggled through.
I really loved the last 10 chapters. The last 10 chapters picked up pace. They were climactic. There was more stuff going on. And I felt like that's what the story should have done 20 chapters earlier.
So even Amy,
I just feel like it's a slow.
Right.
Yeah.
And even Amy, who's at like 7 or 8 right now, was like, it's kind of taken a while to get going. And I was like, well, when you get to 14, and she was like, why does it have to be 14? So I think, and I think my only explanation to her was like, there's a lot to be explained, especially with the allomancy. And then what happens is, as soon as somebody starts using it, he has to explain every like minute detail to explain like how somebody's manipulating themselves and moving this way and that way. And like, it gets kind of monotonous. Like it's like,
I
I'm
like
okay.
that
Like
part of it though.
I don't dislike it, but I feel like at some point you don't have to give me every detail anymore. Like you can just say, oh, pulled on this, boom, good to go. You don't have to be like, oh, well, then he found a coin that just happened to be under this thing and blah, 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 like belt buckle and blah, like, cool, let's go. Like, let's just make it happen. So
you're saying,
really,
hold on. Are you saying he's mansplaining?
Walked right into that, didn't I? So
Yeah, you did.
Potentially.
It kind of reminds me of like George R.R. Martin or Stephen King, where they have to go into so much depth.
Yes.
Just like you don't have to describe the veins of the leaves that are falling on the ground and the color of dirt it lands on.
Right.
The leaf fell.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna push back a little bit on that. I think
please.
Well, first of all, I'll say this. When it comes to the depth of character and maybe the idea of a male assuming that he could really flesh out a female character, I think a lot like I'm not sure if, and you guys can answer this, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if anyone would agree that any male authors have done a good job of that. I don't know. That's not where I'm going with this. But the book is to me obviously made. He wants someone to pick this up for film or TV series and stuff like that, and it reads like that in a large sense. And I think sometimes like, and that's why like to go back to what Megan was saying last week, like the whole heist thing, like that's something that like makes all these quick shots in your head, and like when they're talking about the characters when they first got the Caymans, and then with the belt buckle and little things like that. Again, I feel like that is for
like
almost like this is how you do it if you want to put it on the television or whatever that might be. It's very obvious to me that he wants a series or something to come out of it. And I think that maybe he doesn't maybe him not really doing a female character as well. He hasn't done a lot of characters that well. I think it's just like a lot of like boom bop bing boom, like actiony, almost.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
I can't get that out of my head ever either. Oh my Lord, I think we are being blessed with Christy. She's not in fully yet, but it looks like she's joining up.
I'm in here. I am driving home, but I'm in here.
Yay! Welcome.
I think that's a great point about it being picked up for film, especially considering that Brandon Sanderson helped to finish out the Wheel of Time series.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
Yeah, the last 3 books are actually Sanderson using the notes from I'm brain farting on the author's name, and I have it. Anyway,
I don't have it. Otherwise, I'd
from the original author, because that's now an Amazon Prime series, right? So now that's picked up by Amazon Prime. They're on their 3rd season of it. So it's very similar type of like world building, and the fact that Brandon Sanderson was actually able to continue it out using that original author's notes to finish out the series is really telling that that is a very similar thing. So yeah, I get that.
That makes a lot of sense. So he's already hanging out with those folks and everything. That's what you're essentially saying.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I wonder also if like the
way the book reads, but anyway,
I wonder if also like his goal was more to focus on the aspects of the storyline itself and not necessarily the interpersonal relationships. Like maybe his goal in mind was to focus on this is the story and this is the, this is what I want to discuss. These are the, I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to come up with here, but
like the elements of the story.
Well, no, like this is the topic that I want to tackle, like, like the classism and all of that and the rebellion and like that's the important part of the story. It's not the, who becomes friends or who has feelings for somebody or who, is scorned by this person or, like the things that you normally get in a fantasy novel.
Yeah, because this is very like high fantasy. It's not romantasy. It's a whole new world that's being developed. It's not, it's not SJM. It's not,
Playing out all that.
No, it's definitely not SJM.
but it's very violent though too at times and like kind of like abrupt. No, like I don't read a lot of high fantasy. I don't.
It's very action epic fantasy. Yeah. Like it is high fantasy because it's got its own magic system and its own world and everything. But I think that's kind of where the high fantasy ends. It's more like an epic or adventure fantasy that is solely focused on the adventure, like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You go, like the whole thing is just about the journey, not, I mean, you do get a lot of the character, like inputs on the character and stuff like that, but it's about the journey and the epic adventure of, that's the story.
Right.
I think that's kind of, I feel like with his writing style, that's the goal here, not necessarily the rest of it.
I think a good contrast just for future, I've already put it in the chat on Discord, but just to throw it out here verbally to you guys, I really think a good place for this group to go would be 5 Broken Blades by May Corland.
Oh, that's on my TBR.
Oh my gosh. So I have the first book. I've read it twice. I will read it a third time. I've not read the second one. It just came out earlier this year and I'm really excited about it, but I've not read it yet. It's a book that my husband had bought for me, the original one. And I absolutely love it. It's easily one of my favorites so far. I think it's a place to go to see the complete opposite type of high fantasy world building, where it is like, it's really fast paced, but you get that connection with those characters really easily.
So I had a similar thought, but more like towards the sci-fi aspect and away from the fantasy. And I have a series for us. It's the League of People. And it's the first book is amazing. I've read it like 4 times. It's my beach book. And it's the character, like the way that the author built the characters is phenomenal. And it is a male author with an amazing female main character.
That's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's, I think, a 6 or 7 book series.
Put it in the Discord chat.
Okay.
So I guess my question now is, would anybody be, are you hearing me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. It's not giving me my little green box like normal. So my question is, would anybody be butthurt if we don't go to book 2 of this series on the next? Oh, everybody.
No.
Oh, I'm good to jump around. I'm good to yeah.
It's not that good. Okay, I'm glad we did. I'm stoked on it, but no, let's go somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
we can always pick it up independently if we want to finish the story.
100%. I think if we, what I'm going to do is try to keep it super diplomatic. I'll put a poll on the announcements thing in Discord and be like, hey, does anybody have a preference on where we go? And if we find anybody who, says the same book, perhaps great.
Well, I too am a man of diplomacy, but if they're not coming into the chat, I think we should have some weight on this decision.
I don't disagree.
So we get 2 votes.
Active members are final decision. We'll come up with like top 3 maybe, and then we'll all get together on the last meeting or on we should do it like soon, but we'll all just.
Can I make a suggestion?
100%.
I think we should decide on a genre first. Like, do we want to hop to a different genre? Do we want to hop to horror? Do we want to hop to sci-fi? And then go from there? Because otherwise, they're going to be so spread out, the suggestions, that it's going to be a lot harder to narrow down on something.
Okay.
I got a buddy that I really wanted to bring into this chat. He's like really good author himself, and he reads books all the time. He's a rad dude, and especially if we want, not that we need anything, but he's a horror guy. and sci-fi and everything. Yeah, and then he will definitely be at the. I'm just gonna invite fam, and I'll give you his information, Nick, and then
please.
But he'll join. He'll be there every week too. So
awesome, absolutely. Yeah. Anybody, truly, like you guys want to keep spreading out this group? Let's do it. I think it'd be cool. I think. So far, the meetings have been really cool because they're quaint. We all kind of know each other already, and it's great. Christy, welcome, by the way. We're glad to have you. I know you're in the car and you're staying on mute just to listen for a little bit, but I promise we had really good things to talk about already. And we talked about you quite a bit because of your thread that you started the other day about the epigraphs. So, but yeah, I think truly anybody you think of, just you don't have to ask. Nobody needs my permission to be there. They will, like, when they sign into the Discord, I have to approve them, but like, I'll literally approve anyone. I don't know any different. So, but yeah, bring them all. I think totally. Okay. So we got to pick a book, for the next one. I'll put a poll up just for the genre to see if anybody's got any strong opinions. And then we'll kind of flesh this out over the next week while we're doing the reading for week 3. And okay, so it's already kind of decided then we're not going to do the series. And that's kind of funny. I thought for sure everybody was going to be like, no, we got to finish, but okay, no big deal. So,
with that said though, next week, everybody, let's do a little homework and pick 3 like little parts that you really like that we can read to each other or like to say about expanding on a theory or an idea or something.
For sure. I love it. And I put it on the announcement. So like, hey, if you're down, if you're coming to the meeting next week, pick a favorite quote or a favorite whatever and come prepared. So
yeah, I'm really excited too. Like, I know we didn't touch on her at all this meeting, but Mare, is that her name? Kelsier's
wife.
Oh,
yes.
Right.
When he was talking with Vin about how she was the one who betrayed him, or he assumes she's the one who betrayed him because of the way he's like, you didn't hear what she said or what he said to her and how he said it. He thanked her for betraying me and the way that the meeting was set up and all that. Like, that's really interesting because I thought it was his brother, to be honest. I really was just convinced it was his brother for some reason. So I'm really interested. Just sorry, kind of pull it back in. I felt like we were ending and I wanted to know what you guys thought.
No.
Oh yeah,
please,
I had one more thought too.
Do. And so hold on, before we get off of her, when Kelsier and the brother, what's his name?
Marsh.
When Kelsier and Marsh finally get together that first meeting and they go and they have their little quiet meeting, everybody else leaves but Vin, he talks about loving her too.
Yeah, he wishes that Kelsier was the one to have died in the pits, not her.
What do you think that relationship was? Like, why are they beefing because he stole his brother's lady, or like what is going on? So I've been sitting on that one a little bit too, trying to figure out like what's coming back. Like, is he just a really kind of bitter dude who's been crushed by the oppression, or is he like, did something happen between him and Kelsier that's also keeping him away, other than just like, I don't trust you, you're a loose cannon kind of thing?
I think you're right, dude. Yeah, because I do remember that part. I didn't really think about it at the time, but yeah, that's an odd thing to say. Yeah.
Right. I thought it was weird. So I was like, okay, set that in the back. We'll figure it out later, I hope.
Yeah. No, that's definitely coming back. Yeah, that's nasty.
You guys hearing the stampede in my house? I apologize if it's making noise. I can mute. Okay, Lauren, you had a point.
So last week we discussed that we thought that Kelsier was kind of hot-headed or definitely.
Reckless.
How are we still reckless? How are we still feeling about Kelsier?
Still feeling
loose.
very Anakin.
I'm still like 90% sure he's going to die before the end of the book.
Yeah, still very Anakin.
Die, but I thought that instance when they fought those 2 Allomancers or Inquisitor, whatever they call them, like, I mean, the author said that, like, that kind of like just really, turned him, like, cooled him off a little bit. He became somewhat a little more subtle. I don't know if that answers your question, but like, what's going on?
Yeah, he does kind of draw back a little bit on the intenseness once she gets injured. I feel like while she's healing and everything, he seems to like realize that maybe caution is a little.
Yeah, he's got full responsibility over this kid who he took under wing now, and now he's got to be.
And she's a kid.
And she had half her stomach like blown out. I would have some more reservation in the future myself.
Like, I don't know if they've referenced her age yet. They reference her actual age.
She's 14,
around
right?
chapter 19. No, she was 16. She's 17 around the time that the accident happens, or right after the accident happens. They give an actual number in like the next chapter or so, but she's a kid.
Yeah. No, yeah. She's not 20. Yeah, she's not adult.
No. She's not Eland a kid. She's an actual kid.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Ellen got all offended. He was like, "Hey, I'm 21. Like, unless you're 10, like, calm down."
No, but who was the kid that sat by her bedside while she was out of it?
Is that Spook?
Too.
Oh, the Mumbles kid. Yeah, what's that kid's name?
Spook.
What is
that's his nickname? Is Spook, but it's I can't remember his first name.
Lester Burns or something. Lester.
Oh
Burns.
yeah.
Is that who it was? I thought that was a grown up, because I thought it was a kid that sat next to her bedside.
No, that's Spook.
No,
right?
yeah,
So they
it's a
rename
kid.
him.
Yeah, he's a kid.
That's how I read it. Yeah.
What
He's
does
like,
he
I'm
do?
not calling you that. He's
just
Clubs'
a star.
sidekick or something, right?
Yeah.
Like he works with Clubs. He's got a little power, but he's got this terrible accent that he picked up, and like this sort of his own language kind of that he picked up that apparently is like a lower ska kind of thing that happens. But yeah, ultimately he's just kind of right, because he's still
he has the vision thing, whatever that medal is. I can't remember what it is, but
I should put that up too. By the way, there is a chart in the back of the book that's kind of got all the Allomancy stuff. So I'll put that in the. Sorry, my kids decided to break loose in there.
I thought it was interesting too. Like, he doesn't do as great as a job as some other authors do, but he attempts to, when you're talking about that ska, like colloquial or vernacular or slang or whatever. I thought he played around with that pretty. I mean, I thought that was really fun. Like as a person that I love linguistics and analyzing how people talk, especially based on geography or whatever. And it was like, that was fun to read because you had to read it 3 times. You're like, okay, I could see someone maybe saying something like that, like kind of like that. And I think it's fun when authors play with that. He definitely isn't like A+ quality, but I thought that was like brave and like kind of like, it made me chuckle while read,
I'm with that.
Anyway, I gotta slide, you guys. I'll see you next Wednesday.
All right, we won't get too deep, I promise. Thanks, dude. Have a good practice.
You as well. All right, thank you.
I will. So that kid is fun. Can you guys hear that? You hear them make? Oh, good. Oh, noise canceling is good. Yeah. Okay, good.
But I've also got Banshee being obnoxious, so.
I heard you talking. I was like, who's that? Anything else you want to touch on before? Now that Flowers dropped, I don't want to go too deep without him. So, did we get? I'm not even like. I love that so far. Both of these meetings, we've just naturally I haven't really had to go through here's the questions I came up for during the week that are so random and vague. You all have been amazing with the feedback, and everybody, even when we're not totally stoked on a part, there's still excitement about this book, even though we're not trying to get into the next series necessarily.
But watch, by the end of the book, the last meeting, we're gonna be like, actually, can we?
I know that's.
So I had a conversation with Nick that I'm like, he's like, so do you want to read the rest of the series? And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm trying to decide. Like I said, we loved the last 10 chapters, but I'm trying to decide: is the last 10 chapters enough to get me through 2 more books, or do I just leave it at I really enjoyed the last 10 chapters?
I always feel the second book is the best book of any series. That second book, you know what I mean? Like in trilogies, especially, that second book really kind of seals the deal on it, and what draws you. And let's think Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, best. Obviously. My favorite trilogy, that is the Song of Albion, the second book, best book out of the trilogy. ACOTAR, second book, best book. It's not a trilogy.
Oh, I'm not going to agree with that one.
Oh my God, stop that. Please don't even. Which one?
A Court of Silver Flames. I liked Nesta and Cassian's story better.
Our first club fight.
Although my second favorite is book 2. Out of those characters, book 2.
I'll allow it.
I think for the sake of club that I actually, now that I'm thinking about it more, for the sake of the club, I think it makes more sense for us to not sit in a series. It's totally okay for us to vote to come back to a series, but I think to keep it interesting, keep people like, oh yeah, like, this fantasy stuff's not totally my thing, but we know that sci-fi is coming in a book or two, right? Or like, I'm really down to do a thriller or a horror. I don't want to wait 6 months to get to that. Let's kind of keep it on a rotation. Okay.
I also think that a lot of us also read multiple books in a month or multiple books at a time. And if we decide to continue with the series, we can always have a side like chat for continuations of series where we can also have conversations in there, but it's not the main focus of book club for the month. It's just, hey, for anybody who continued on and wants to talk about this, and we can do what I would suggest is doing it how Fable sets it up so that there's no spoilers since we're not in a call with chapter breakdowns. We do, okay, let's talk about chapter 1 here, chapter 2 here, 3, 4. So you just hop into whatever chapter to start talking about it when you get to that chapter.
What if we
and
just
then that way, if we want to.
We have Fable. I was like, oh, well, I don't do the audiobook thing. Like, I'm really into having a physical book because it sits in my face and it doesn't just like hide in my device somewhere. So like, it reminds me I should be reading. But we could totally be like, hey, let's just take like if we decide to go side conversations and somebody wants to do that, we just push it to Fable and we just say that's the
I'm
source
fine with
now.
that.
Interesting. Okay, cool. I love it. I think I appreciate that you guys have had amazing ideas so far, and I think that we can really expand this into something kind of cool with more feedback and enough, especially because you guys are way better at this than I am. I'm like so impressed with myself that I'm on, whatever I am, 200.
We were there at one point.
Yeah, and like third grade. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, reading is something I should learn how to do.
It's just, I think it just might be the book too, because there are some books, like I have a book that's sitting on my bedside table that I've only gotten like halfway through and I've not surpassed that. Yeah. Like there's just some books grip you in and you're able to finish them in like a day or two. And some books that you're just like, nah. And I think this is one of those books you're really excited to read because everybody's so excited about the universe. But then you get into it and you're like, this is a really hard place to kind of begin this journey because you're learning. So it's more like school than it is like exciting. So it's exciting to learn about it and to theorize with it with you guys and dive into those conversations. But from a reading standpoint, you're going,
I feel like,
okay,
and everybody
I 100% agree. And I thought it was just because I'm dumb, but now I know.
No, and everybody has authors writing styles that work best for them. Like there are a handful of fantasy writers and horror writers that no matter what I'm reading, what the story is, I can fly through it because of the way they write. And there are a few others that I love. Like Stephen King, love Stephen King. I hate reading his books. George R.R. Martin, I love his storytelling, but reading his books it's just so lengthy. And it's just, it takes so much more time to consume what they write because of the way they write. And not everybody's that way. Some people prefer that style of writing. You just need to find the authors for you and the writing style for you that once you do it, you'll end up with 17 books from the same author or, other authors that have the same writing style and you'll fly through for a week.
Oh my gosh, I did that with maybe not Frida, but Frida McFadden. She's like a very methodical thriller writer, and her books, they're done. Like you pick it up and it's over. You're just done. You just fly through them.
I love that. Yeah, it's part of the reason this whole thing. I was like, I need other influence, right? Otherwise, I'm stuck pointing and shooting at like this TikTok review or like. I heard 3 people post something, saw 3 people post something about this. It must be amazing. And so I'm just like shooting in the dark this way. Like now people that I know and love are going to help me do this, which is great. So it's a very selfish thing that I've created, but also it's working out for everybody. So hopefully everybody still, yes. Sorry.
You're fine.
How about, I'm going to finish talking with my friends real quick and then we'll get you more crackers. You want to hang out and stare at them? Okay. So
she looks so much like Amy.
Right? Sorry, my fault. She had an awesome day today. They had live birds come in. They had an eagle and a couple of hawks, right?
Which one was their favorite?
Did you have a favorite? Did you see an owl, or did they not bring the owl?
Ooh.
They bring the owl.
They brought the owl too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that.
so yeah, super cool. She's so fun. So okay, so we're definitely gonna change. I'm gonna put up a post. I'm gonna put up 2 posts right now. What did I say? Can't even read my handwriting anymore. So the first one would be genre. And then I start to write.
I don't
I'm
remember
trying
the
to pay attention
second.
to it, and I look down. I'm like, that is not a word. So we'll do genre request first. No, baby, we're talking. That's a little bit annoying. I love you. Wait, oh, you're just sweaty. I was like, oh. And then the other one was gonna be okay. So we'll do something about side chat. So if people get butthurt that we're not finishing the series, we're gonna talk about doing a side chat on Fable. And then I don't remember what the other thing was, but I think. Does anybody else have any
Do you have
like? Go ahead.
Do you have to pay for Fable? Like to get like
No.
the full thing,
No.
like the full experience?
It's all
Because like
free.
I saw okay. Because I was really
I think you
confused on how to
can
use
pay.
it.
You can pay for like extra stuff, but like I do book clubs on there with my sister and my friend. And I have like we have ones for TV shows. Like we have a Netflix and Disassociate group where whatever we're watching, that's like we're talking about Yellow Jackets right now. And then we've got you're welcome to join. I will add you to the
So
chat.
good.
Oh my god.
It's so good.
Love that.
Everybody in my group though is so bad about using external apps. Everybody just texts me, and I have like 20 text threads about. I'm like, use the app. But we have one for Sarah J. Maas. We have for horror books.
Oh,
we have
that's
like I mean
awesome.
we do one for whatever genre we're working on or author we're working on.
But do you normally have like a physical copy of the book, or you like getting?
I have a physical and a digital copy of every book that I own.
But so you're not purchasing your books through here, so you can purchase titles through the app and
You
use it as
can
a
and
reader.
audio. Yeah.
But I think that you're certainly not required to, and then you get in
Got it.
and you go to the club
It's just like
lobby,
Goodreads.
and then so like all I have to do is assign the book, and I could probably assign somebody else to help do this too. And then you go through, and it's like, am I explaining this to people who are just like, yeah, we already know? But
I have no
also,
idea.
like,
No, I don't think Megan's been on there.
so it's literally like, and
I
then it
saw
breaks
it,
the book
like, I
down by
joined it.
prologue.
Yeah.
So you can go in and create a chat in there and just start, and you just read through everybody else's stuff. Nobody's touched it yet, including the guy who suggested we use it. But
That's
it's there.
what I saw.
I didn't know.
That's why
I didn't know we had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I joined it and I was like, oh, am I missing something? Because like I can only see like the
No.
prologue and the first like 2 or 3 chapters. And then I was
Right.
like, oh, it was like buy the book. And I was like, no.
So yeah,
Right.
you can buy the book, but there's in the club rooms. So when you go to your club, like if you go to the club tab, any clubs that you have started or joined are in there.
Mhm.
And each club can only do one book at a time. It will archive any other ones within the club after you've changed books. But it
Oh, that's
breaks
what I'm
it down.
reading.
You have what's called a lobby where it's just open chat. And then you have one labeled for every single chapter of the book. So you can, and you had to click and go into the chapter's room to discuss it. So that way there aren't spoilers for people who haven't gotten to that chapter yet.
Okay. But by that breakdown, so if we were to continue on, Nick would have to leave the Mistborn book open in Fable to continue that chat.
And I don't think I
Or
would
create
even.
a whole new one for the next book for Fable, right?
I would do 2 separate ones for each of the books, because if you change books, it archives one of them. You can go back to it and still chat, but it's a little more confusing. It gets
Harder to
muddled.
navigate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I would just do 2 different ones. You would just do,
It just sounds really convoluted for I don't know. It's probably because I've not used it and there's nothing in there
And it
yet for
could
me to
be, and
see
maybe people would be
reference.
happier on Discord, and we just leave it in the Discord, and we can open
I
voice
mean, I'm
chats.
happy with Discord.
Yeah, I think we could even open. I could have somebody else be the moderator too. Be like, oh, if you want to take over the moderation for the next book, then I'll just make them moderator, and they can go in and open a voice chat or whatever to do the conversation. What you doing? How are you so resourceful for 3 years old? It's crazy the stuff this kid can do. Okay, cool. So I know Christy joined or just added us to or joined the club on Fable as well. Is Flar back?
I
He's
am.
he's
Can you hear me?
What up, dog? Yeah, are you on the mobile, just chilling at the spot? Oh, well, okay, cool. So yeah, okay, cool. Why don't we call it here? I love you guys. It's been awesome. I'm glad that everybody's staying excited and keeping the conversation going. Do we want to have an insiders text thread as well? Or do you guys just want to keep it Discord and the meetings on the week?
I'm fine with whatever. I talk on every platform about everything. I have 10 conversations going on with the same person about literally every book. So
the chat thinks that I'm driving, so it won't let me put my camera on. That's hilarious.
Oh.
That's what happened to me earlier when I first joined, and then I had to leave, and I was like, "No, leave the driving. What? I'm not driving."
Yeah,
I'm on the bus, but it thinks I'm driving.
But
you guys are canceling out. I'll catch up with y'all. I'm just interrupting. I'm out. Bye.
All right, peace. All right. So, Christy, sorry that we couldn't get you in at the beginning, but we're glad you joined up.
Watch the recap.
Yeah,
I will. I'll watch it.
I'll get it up there. I hadn't put last week's up yet either. We took a 2-week vacation basically, and it was exhausting. So I'll try to get it up this week, and we'll get everybody caught up. Christy, we were just talking to about if you have friends or anybody else who might be down for this, you're more than welcome to just invite. This isn't a private thing by any means. So if you know anybody else, bring them along.
Okay.
And then just keep an eye on the Discord for right now, and we will go ahead and start voting on what the next book is going to be, since we've already pretty much decided it's going to be not in the series. And cute. And then I love you guys. Have an awesome rest of your week. And I can't wait to hear what's next. Lauren knows too much. Love you guys. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.